Hello everyone, I'm Finspire and welcome back to my tutorial series on any percent Warpless for Dust and Elysian Tale. We continue with chapter 1 where we go through Aurora village and Abadis forest. So those two are next in the line, and without further ado, let's get this started with. During Aurora village you just want to dodge cancel through everything and everyone, because there's only one NPC you need to talk to in this village, and he's the mayor, goddammit, my English. So you need to talk to the mayor to unlock or to progress in the main storyline and to unlock Abadis forest. So the mayor is right here. You want to talk to him and skip the cutscene. And if you are really fancy and feel like saving around 7 seconds over a really stupid trick, you can try this. There's an NPC called Fail who is standing right next to me, and if you go really close to him, he starts walking to the opposite direction. So you can use this to force him to walk all the way to right, and when you are about to exit the level, talk to him. What ends up happening is the dialogue doesn't open immediately, but after you have chosen to go to the next area, the dialogue will start after that. And this dialogue will override any possible cutscenes which will play in the next area wherever you go in the roadmap. And what is it you need? Shut up. And in this case, it skipped the panorama cutscene which would play after you go to Abadis forest in the world map. So that saves around 7 seconds if you want to be really fancy. So alright, this is Abadis forest. I will explain some of the red barrier strats, or some strats to avoid red barriers, because that's mostly what you will be doing in this area, because you don't actually have to collect anything, you just have to get through the rooms as quickly as you can, and avoiding red barriers is a big part of that. So I will, most of my time I will explain how to avoid the red barriers, so you can save a good amount of time. So for example, if you will just do your usual thing and use ADCs and dodge cancels to get through this room, you will get greeted with a red barrier, and the enemies will have a party right next to the level exit, so this is a bit tricky. So let me show you how I avoid that red barrier. And the fun thing is, you can come up with your own ways to avoid these red barriers, but the strats I'm using here myself are strats which I have found the most useful, or the fastest strats anyway. So what I do in this room, I aerial dodge cancel to the lowest part of the level, which is right here. Then I aerial dodge cancel to the right, lure all these enemies to the left, and when they are left enough so they are not near the level exit, I will turn back and use aerial dust storm to go to the right, and I will use the fidget projectile at the same time, because the fidget projectile is a really good way of stunning enemies and keeping them where you want them to stay at. So if I just go here and start using fidget projectiles, they will kind of freeze and they can't move. And that's a really useful trick throughout the run. You can use that to stun lock enemies and just keep them away from red barriers. So, in this room you want to use aerial dust storm again, and you can basically just aerial dust storm through the whole room, like this. You might need to correct yourself, but this should work. And just like in the previous room, you go all the way to the right, so you will lure all the enemies, then you will go back to left, so you will lure them away from the red barrier, and then you will go in like this. I did it pretty slowly, but you get the idea, you can do it faster. So in this room, instead of going to the right, we just avoid getting hits, and we will jump down from this platform, so we'll land here. We will go all the way down, and then we can go to the right, and this is where we should go to. Once again, I will demonstrate what happens if you just do crouch cancels. You will most likely get a red barrier. So that's why I also have a strat for this room as well. So I land on this platform right here, then I will use Aerial Dust Storm to go to the right. I should home in on those two monsters. I will do a couple of RDSs and then I will Aerial Dodge Cancel to the right. I will hit the red barrier, I will fall down, the enemies will be above me when I hit the ground, and I should have enough space to get through the red barrier. So let me show that step by step. Again, you land here, use the Aerial Dust Storm here. When you hit the roof, do a couple of Rising Dust Storm moves. After that, start using your Aerial Dodge Cancel. As you can see, I hit the red barrier right there and the enemies are coming towards me. They are going upwards from where they originally were. And after you hit the red barrier, you will just fall down, keep holding right, and you will get through the red barrier if you did everything correctly. That's a nice strat to avoid that particular red barrier. So keep going right, there's a cutscene, skip it. Use ground dodge cancel here. There's this slime, he can cause you a red barrier, but if you are lucky, he won't. But there's a nice backup strat if he is too close to you. Oh, god damn it. So, if he causes you a red barrier, like this, jump up, keep pressing attack, and mash triangle. That will be mash, keep pressing attack with X on Xbox controller, and then tap Y to do Dust Storm, because that will kind of lift you upwards when you are doing that against a red barrier. So let me show you one more time. So jump up, no, that was too fast. Jump up, oh, god damn it, I think I should go a bit further in. Yeah, jump up, keep pressing down and just mash the living hell out of a Dust Storm and you will get up eventually, if that ever happens to you. You can use that trick in other rooms as well, if the room is high enough. So, dodge cancel all the way over here. There's a shop, do not go there under any circumstances. Just go up here, there should be a monster right there. What I do is... well, let me actually load a save file. When you're originally coming down from here, I just lure him so he will follow me and I will crouch cancel to the right, so I will avoid the enemy. But there are other ways of approaching that red barrier. You can just get lifted up here and then you will kind of get past the red barrier like that. So you can use any strat you will find the easiest. And in this room, immediately after entering this room, use Dust Storm to go up, Aerial Dust Storm even. Then do some Aerial Dodge Cancels. When you are past that specific group, like you have some distance from them, again jump up and use Aerial Dust Storm and go to the right. You should home in on those flying monsters. Then you will hit the wall to the right, which I just did. And then you will fall down, and just like in the other room where I avoided the AVs by going up and then falling down, the same thing happens here. They will go up and I will be able to sneak through that red barrier right there. So let me show that again. God damn it. So immediately jump and use Aerial Dust Storm. Get your distance from that group. And then Aerial Dust Storm up, hit the wall, and then get through the level exits. In this room, you can get a nice lift from these monsters, so you can go all the way over here. These guys will very likely cause a red barrier, so what I do, I will lure them a bit to the left, and then I will Aerial Dust Storm and use Fidget Projectile at the same time, so they will get stuck where they were. So there's that. Then there's this room. I will do one crouch cancel to the right, and then I will use Aerial Dust Storm to home in on these AVs and hopefully get all the way up. I think the note though, you can activate a bomb in this room, and if you do that, that bomb will most likely kill some enemies on the way, and that prevents you of doing a cutscene skip later on, which is based on the fact that you will level up at a specific moment. So if you kill too many enemies on your way, you will not be able to do the cutscene skip, but it's the kind of trick which I would not recommend worrying about at this point, because you have to be really careful with not killing too many enemies, and when you're starting off you will probably kill more enemies than you will need to, so I will advise to ignore that and just keep that in mind when you are getting better, that if you don't kill that many enemies, you will be able to skip a cutscene later on, and I will point out the cutscene when we get there. So yeah, just ground cancel to the right, use aerial dust storm to boost up. You might trigger this cutscene, but keep going up, and there's an exit right here. So this room is a bit difficult because there are a lot of AVs present. So what you should do is ground cancel all the way here, and when you are below the flying monsters, they are to the left, at the left side of the screen at the moment, use aerial dust storm to boost from them like this, and you will get up nicely like that, and then just aerial dodge cancel to the left, and you should get through the red barrier, because there are so many enemies in this room if you don't do that. Let me demonstrate if you try something else. If you just ground cancel, this will happen absolutely 100% of the time. So it's a really nice strat of for avoiding the red barrier, to just jump up here, get some heights, and do aerial cancels to the left. Right. Oh. Here you can skip the cutscene, and in this room you will actually need a fruit bomb, because there is a destructible wall right here. So what you can do is you can enter the previous room, and the moment you enter the room, do dust storm like this and just get out. You will get the bomb, and hopefully the enemies won't be that annoying, because they can really ruin your day. As you can see, it came towards me really quickly. Sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do. It depends on your luck. But anyway, once you have the bomb, trigger the cutscene and go over here. One thing to note about these destructible walls is if you are too close and use attack, they will knock you back pretty far. So if you will just jump up here, use the RDS, you will most likely get knocked back by the barrier. So what I do is I jump up here and then start using the Rising Dust Storm, and it will blow up the wall nicely without me getting knocked back. Because the thing to keep in mind is that normal attacks create the knockback animation when you are close to those yellow barriers, but Dust Storm doesn't. If you are using aerial Dust Storm, the wall won't knock you back. But if you are using aerial swings or just normal swings, it will knock you back, and the hitbox in the barrier is absolutely ridiculous. So you can use that to avoid getting knocked back by the walls. So right here, destroy these two walls, skip the cutscene, and get this key. This is actually the only key you should get in this area. We have optimized the amount of keys you must get throughout the run, and you will, if you follow this guide carefully, you will get the exact amount you need. By the way, I just skipped a bunch of stuff I should explain. So let's backtrack a bit. So once you come down from there, go over here, use the Dust Storm to fly up. You will home in on these enemies, and then keep using the aerial Dust Storm, and you will end up here. And this is the room where you will get the early flash state. Flash state is a weapon augment, which you can equip in the inventory in this slot. Currently I have nothing, but on the top of this room there's a chest which includes flash state, which is a really powerful weapon augment. It gives you 160 attack, and if you pay attention I only have 4 at this moment, so it will make my attack pretty insane. That's why it's really important to learn this trick and to learn to get the early flash state, because this will be one of the hardest tricks you will have to learn when you are starting off with this game. And I will link you the tutorial how to do this room properly and in depth, because you will have to practice a lot before you can do this consistently. So I will not actually explain at all what I'm doing, because I have already done it in one of my technique tutorials. So go watch it if you are not familiar with this trick, and be patient when you're learning this, because it will be quite difficult. Naturally, since I have done this so many times, I usually do this on my first attempt, but that will most likely not be the case when you're first of learning the game. And here is a nice tip to open the chests really quickly. So in casual difficulty, the game doesn't actually punish you for wrong inputs during the chest opening quick time event or something. So I'm pressing circle at the moment, I'm pressing A, I'm pressing X, but I'm not pressing Y. But the game doesn't punish me for it. That's not the case in normal difficulty and above that. If I press wrong input in those difficulties, it will just close the sequence. But the nice thing about casual difficulty is it doesn't do that. I can just spam all the buttons as fast as I can to open the chest really quickly. So if you can see from my inputs, I just keep pressing down all the buttons until the chest opens. It will be pretty quick. So once you get the early flash state, go ahead and equip it. As you can see, it gives me so much more attack power, and from now on I will basically one-shot everyone in this area, which is really nice. So get down from that room and go to right. Use ground cancels. Hope that the enemies are not near enough to cause a red barrier. And here is another boss fight, which you can skip by flying over the boss trigger. So let me just show you what happens if I go down here. First of all, there's a small dialogue, and then there's the fuse boss fight in this room. Naturally, we don't want to do that since this is low. It would be really easy to kill him with the flash state, but yeah. It's much faster to just skip this entirely. Let me actually kill him just for fun. Okay, you get the point, it's really fast to kill him. I actually wish I didn't kill him, because now I have to watch these dialogues. God damn it. What have I done? So yeah, just like in the end of Glade, we can skip the whole boss fight sequence. And how we do that is by jumping up from the save point and start using Rising Dust Storm and go towards the right. And when you reach this rock formation right here, you can just clip through it. You can start using aerial dodge cancels, because there's actually a floor here which prevents you from falling down. So you don't have to be afraid of falling all the way down, because there is an invisible floor. So that's how you skip the fuse fight. Skip this dialogue and get back immediately, because there's something you need here. It's the new fidget projectile. It's the fire thing, which looks like... Come on. It looks like this, and you will need it at the end of the game. So yeah, you don't even have to get the key, which was like right next to me right there. You don't even bother with it. And you can once again use this trick to climb the red barrier if you get stuck. And there we go, we are done with the Abadis forest. But there is still some things to do before we enter chapter 2. So skip this dialogue and go back to Aurora village and enter from the right side. Then go talk to the mayor again, so you can progress in the main quest. If you don't do that, you will not be able to go to Zero Moon Caverns. And this is the time when we shop for the first time. We will actually shop twice throughout the run, and this is the first instance of it. So what you should do is, you should sell all your food. Do that. And then sell one of your keys. You should have 2 keys at this point, but if you only have 1, then sell it anyway. Sell one of the keys, and then buy 5 teleport stones. Because we will need exactly 5 teleport stones throughout the run to save some time in Zero Moon Caverns and Soaring Meadows. So that's all you need to do. After that you can exit. Yeah, you don't need to go to inventory at this point. And then go talk to... who is this girl again? He's Ginger, yeah. And skip all these cutscenes. And then there are these 3 monsters which you should kill. And since you have early flesh teeth, you will have a lot of damage, so you will almost one-shot them. So what I do in this fight is I jump, I use aerial dust storm, and just swipe through them and go back. That's the fastest way of dealing with them. And after that, go to the left, and there's an option to go down here. Do that. Ignore the chest, you don't need that. And keep going to the right. Skip another cutscene. And jump down here. Keep hugging the wall on the right, and you will be able to jump down. I mean, fall down nicely. There's another cutscene. And remember when I talked about the cutscene skip you can do if you level up at the right time? This is where it comes... this is where it actually happens. So when you're about to exit this area, you should kill this enemy and then immediately go to the right. If you timed, or if you managed your XP correctly, you will level up during this cutscene and you will be able to skip this panorama thing. But I must say that it's actually really hard to do this consistently, so don't feel bad at all if you can't do this. Consider it a nice bonus if you get this on your runs. But yeah, that's it for chapter 1. Thank you for watching. I will continue with these tutorials really soon, hopefully. So see you then. Thanks for watching.